This has been a constant feature of my life and career, where in my personal life, find myself avoiding important things that I know I should do. And then similarly in work life, oftentimes avoiding the harder thing, whether it's writing that fresh document with a new proposal for something ambiguous or delaying that tough conversation with a colleague where I know it's not going to go as well from their perspective as all my other conversations with them. And perhaps they're going to get some bad news. Perhaps there's going to be some high degree of emotional turmoil. There's just so many situations at work where sometimes we take the easy path and we don't work on something that we know is essential. And yet, the only way out is just work through it. It is a tough challenge. And in my observation, the higher the creative bar, the finer your taste, the tougher it is for you to get through this, to start or to finish, but mainly to combat this fear. I envy colleagues who just start a task. I'm like, wait, this is a very important strategy thing. Yeah, I just wrote it in 2, 3 hours. For me, I would have to sit on it for 2 to 3 weeks, not even writing a word, but just thinking about it, exploring different angles of it, maybe talking to a few people, maybe doing some internet research or whatever. I would find all sorts of reasons to procrastinate on writing this thing. And you just sat down one day and blocked your calendar and wrote it in 2, 3 hours. That is super commendable. I want to be you. But then over time, I realized I don't want to exactly swap positions with you, because I find that there is a lot of value in letting something sit, especially if it's something high leverage and creative work. The answer isn't going to come to you immediately. The best answers, the best product insights, I've got them as I let the problem and the possible solutions and all the inputs I got from colleagues and customers and industry data and various other things sit with me for a few weeks, sometimes a month plus. Sometimes your mind is processing and problem solving something very subconsciously. That's why many people get their best insights, like the classic ones are while driving or in the shower or right after waking up and whatnot. That's partly because of your mind processing what it knows is important for you. What is the knows is fun and interesting to you. At some point, the mind is just a channel for the universe to provide you a creative path forward. We can call that our intuition. In that sense, intuition is the creative language of the universe. Now, all that said, I do want to share some very specific thoughts on how to combat this resistance, this creative block. If you find yourself procrastinating on something important, it sometimes helps to A, recognize that it is happening because of some latent fear. B, then forgive yourself for it. C, remind yourself that fear is a normal feature of life. It's a feature, not a bug. Fear is a normal feature of life for 99.999% of people in the world. D, try to get to the root of the fear without judging yourself. E, then instead of wishing the fear away, tell yourself that you can still take the first step, even though this fear exists. So let the fear exist. Don't wait for some fantasy moment when the fear is gone and then I will start, because that may never arrive. Don't wish it away. Just tell yourself that you can still take the first step. And that could be just create the Google Doc. Literally go to Google Docs and say file new or docs.new. You have a blank Google Doc. Give it a title. Add some sections to it. That's it. Start composing the email. If it's some email you need to send out that's like very tough, or send an invite for the contentious meeting, whatever it is, take that first step. Now that you've taken the first step, then congratulate yourself for taking this first step. Perhaps even rewarding yourself with something you love. So for me, it's usually like boba tea or something. So reward yourself with something you love, even if that reward is disproportionately high versus the time and effort you put into it. The great thing is that you let the fear be and you took that first step. So I don't want you to measure yourself against time or effort, which is like, oh, I did something only for 5 minutes. Because you need to recognize the amount of willpower and the amount of courage it took you to still take that first step in the presence of that fear is tremendous, even if it took you just 5 minutes to do it. So reward yourself disproportionately because your brain likes those rewards. then either continue with the momentum of that task if you feel like going. For many people, they just feel like going because there's
Yeah.
momentum. Or at this point, switch to another more comfortable task, like answering some
Hmm.
Slack messages, getting your quick dopamine hits, or whatever. But now you have a feeling of strength from having taken that first step in the face of fear. So that's the step by step recipe. Over time, it will get slightly easier. It never
It's not
goes
going to
away.
go
It
away.
definitely hasn't for me, but you do make progress with practice.